there, my name is Belinda Dovston and welcome to the I Ching Cafe and our weekly I Ching overview for the week commencing the 11th of April 2022. So first up, some exciting news. If you had not yet seen through the socials, I have published a new meditation on the Insight Timer app. And this meditation is themed all around our monthly hexagram for this month, for April, Hexagram 16 Enthusiasm. The meditation is entitled Charging Up Your Battery, and I've designed it to help you build up your energy if you're feeling depleted or exhausted. This is a resource that you can use, and in particular, whenever we have this Hexagram 16 Enthusiasm, you can work with this meditation to really tap into and unlock the energy, the flow that has been called on us to do. Go and enjoy that. The Insight Timer app is free, and you go and search under my name, Belinda Dovston, on my profile. You'll find the other meditations I have created there as well. And one of the meditations on there is also an I Ching meditation for this week's hexagram. So there's extra there for you. Okay, so last week we had the turning point, hexagram 24, the return. We had nourishment, hexagram 27, where in the week we were asked to pay attention to getting back onto the path and returning back to something we know, getting back to ourselves. And with that very strong changing line, asking us to make sure we don't keep on going down the path of delusion, get back to reality, get back to what makes sense, and turn back before it's too late. So I hope that you had that realization. I had that for me, and something that I'm doing where I realized that path is not for me, it's not going to work. Turn back from that path, return back to the path, and prevent further issues. Okay, so that was last week, and nourishment and energy and being fed and feeding others and thinking about contribution. So in thinking about nourishment, I thought I better get my act together. Another meditation is due. Let me do it. And you know what happened? And I sat down and I put that meditation together. I had so much more energy than when I started. So when we step into things that nourish us, they step in and they give back to us. The flow comes back. So what happened for you last week with nourishment and turning back from the delusion? Right, so this week, what are we being asked to pay attention to? We have hexagram 62, attention to details, okay, or the preponderance of the small. This hexagram we have had quite a lot recently and is all about the importance of the detail, the importance of keeping our nose to the ground and sifting through the bits and pieces in front of us and tackling all the small things on the list. You remember when we had this last time, I spoke about being the chicken, okay, right? Embracing chicken energy, right? So we pick between all the little stones and we pick up and we pull the little seeds and we pay attention to what's on the ground. Another way of understanding this hexagram is the story of Icarus, which I explained in that previous episode, of the myth of Icarus flying too high and these wax wings getting close to the sun, and they melt and then he collapses to earth, and that's the end of Icarus. And so this week, the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to not the big sky, big out there things, but the nitty-gritty things on the ground. It's like, if I could put it into an example in a business context, it's like coming up with the big strategy or the big idea or the big concept. Okay, now what we're doing is we are sorting out the nitty-gritty details of that, all right? Or we've secured a big client. Now we have to work through the setup and onboarding process and sift through all the details that need to be done as part of that setup process. Does that make sense? So it's really a week where we are not up in the clouds with our heads up flying high. And if we do that, if we step out of the flow of this week, we do run the risk of our wings melting and plummeting to the ground. Not an ideal situation at all. You know, our learning journey will find us no matter how hard we try. And perhaps for us and perhaps for you this week, it is about realizing when is it time to put down the blue sky thinking, the big idea, the lofty ideas, the visionary work, the expansion work, the drive to push out. And when's it time to be the chicken and have your beak right on the ground and just follow every little seed that is hidden in this path ahead of you. So the meditation for Hexagram 62 is on Insight Timer, as I mentioned, and is all about guiding you through a process of sifting through a path and picking out the gems that wait for you, which are the little things. Now, with this hexagram, the thing that we really need to understand is that the little things are the gems. They are the precious jewels that we need to pay attention to. And if we have an attitude that the little things, the little details are, someone else can worry about the details, that's where our challenge comes this week. We have to reorientate our viewpoint in saying we take care of the small to take care of the big. And it is a week often where the variety and the avalanche of details that come at us can be really overwhelming. If you find that in this week there's all these things that are hammering you left, right, and center, remember that each little thing is important. Each thing needs its time to be cared for, to be looked after, to be sorted out. That our job this week is to do that. Keep our nose down and focused on what's really important in front of us. And perhaps if you like meditation or you'd like to try it, then work with this meditation this week to help you overcome that overwhelm that can happen when we have just this mass of things to do and every little thing is small. It doesn't appear at first that we're getting anywhere, but by tackling each one and giving each one its time and attention, boy, before you know it, we have accomplished something great because we have given the small its care and its due. So this week we have two changing lines in the first and the fifth position. Number one, we start with that changing line because that's first to kick in. Number one says really, as we start this week, stay low, grounded, and practical. Face down to the ground, ear to the ground, whatever's on the ground, keep it on the ground. Stay low and grounded. Okay, so as we start off this week, if you find that you're drifting off and you're drifting into big ideas, just go back into something that you can do to keep you grounded in the moment. If you're living too much in the past or too much in the future, come back to the present. Stay grounded in the present moment. Keep a low profile, keep your head down, and just get on with the list. Okay, have that list. Tick, 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 all the little small things. And as you do each tick, there's a psychological win that comes with releasing that energy from your life. Okay, so that's our first changing line. Our fifth changing line, we actually had the last time we had this hexagram, which is all about going and seeking out someone who's retreated into the cave. And if you watch that episode, you'll remember me talking about this idea of reaching out to people who are leaving a situation, have left a situation, have retired, have left the industry. So there might be an opportunity to sort out some of these details by speaking to someone who's an expert, who's perhaps left the situation. Sometimes what this means is unexpectedly you get advice or you get support or help or insight from someone who's no longer involved directly. So just have your feelers open for this person who's in retirement. You might find that this week, one of the challenges you face is linked to the advice that someone can give you who has left the situation. Okay, so think about when you face a challenge this week, take it as an experiment, okay? Take it and say, well, what if this situation that I'm struggling with, that's a detailed situation, requires the insight and advice of someone who's no longer here, okay? Someone who's retired, who's left, who's moved, who's relocated. It's someone who has retreated from the situation. And they have something very valuable to contribute to this detailed question. So try that. If you have a stumbling block this week, try that strategy and see what happens. And let's share your experiences next week. Now, our outcome hexagram for this week, our second relating flow of change. We call it outcome, but really it's a parallel process of change. So we give it as much attention as we do the first hexagram. And this is hexagram 49, revolution. Wow, okay. This hexagram is all about the snake shedding its skin, the story of change, the story of being willing to let go of the old to embrace the new. So this week, when we think about the hexagram revolution, I want you to remember the journey of a snake shedding its skin. Okay, and it gets between a rock, and when it's time, it gets between a rock and it slowly moves up and down between two rocks to kind of loosen. And work with this, and then it slowly comes out of this old skin. It's rejuvenated so that it can now grow. And so in order for us to grow, we have to be willing to let go of the old. And often that is the only stumbling block we face in our growth, is that we are not willing yet to let go of the old thing that is precious. So one way of thinking about this, if you are having difficulty letting go of a situation, and of course professional advice is always good if you are really struggling and you need someone to support you, one great way of doing it is saying, okay, this old issue that I'm hanging on to, what is that benefiting me? At some point, I kept and held on to this thing because it was useful to me. It was protecting me. It was helping me. It was getting me somewhere. It's an old belief, an old idea that was useful. And really sit with that and think, what is that old idea that was useful or that is beneficial to hang on to? Because when we grow, we take on new responsibility and we expand. And that means we have to step into those shoes that are now bigger, and we have to step into our power. Oh, heaven forbid. And we have to now grow, and we have to grow up. And often on an issue, we don't want to do that. We want to stay in child mode. And unfortunately, this journey is all about adulting. Life is all about getting an opportunity to shine our light brighter, to do more, to grow, to help others, and to expand our potential in this life. So think about, what is that thing that was useful? Think about, how is that old issue giving me some wiggle room to avoid the issue or avoid the power? And maybe it's time to lovingly release the old skin and say, I want to be a new big snake, okay, and let it go. Okay, so this week, 2 key focuses. Stay focused on the detail. Let's be the chicken, okay, getting every little nugget out of the situation, dealing with each little thing at a time, each little gem that comes across our path at a time. And let us wiggle free of the restriction of the past. Let's make a conscious choice to let it go. And my experience is that when you are ready and you make that conscious choice, it is a miracle how quickly that thing can be let go of and the new thing can come in. Because what you're needing next is just behind the old skin. And as long as we hold on to the old skin, we stop the flow. So if you're needing some flow, think about this week, what can I let go of? Where can I grow? Where can I transform and grow into this next thing that I'm needing to become? Right, so if you've not yet done so, go and watch the monthly overview for April, Hexagram 16 Enthusiasm. Thank you to all of you who shared musical suggestions for our April playlist. Go and check it out, and if you haven't yet done so, go and add yours to the list. And I look forward to seeing you at our next weekly overview and seeing you virtually in meditation. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon.